What's up, everybody? Anton Craley here from ecommercelifestyle.com. Welcome to another episode of the E-commerce Lifestyle Podcast. I'm doing this one again today from the car on the way to the office. I checked the audio from yesterday's episode, the one I filmed on the way, or recorded, I should say, on the way into the office yesterday, and the audio wasn't as good as when I do it in my office with my good microphone and whatnot. But on the other hand, if I'm going to do these things consistently, then I got to do it, I guess whenever possible, and the 8-minute or so drive into the office seems like a good opportunity because I'm not doing anything anyway besides usually listening to old episodes of Howard Stern on Sirius on the radio. So I wanted to just get another episode out today, and I think the way I'll do this, because this is probably episode 4 or 5 by now, but I think the way I'll record these is whenever anything relevant pops up that I think would benefit you, I'll just go ahead and share that message with you, or that story with you, or that tip or topic or whatever it may be. So what was interesting is this morning I was speaking to one of, I guess you can call them my brand partners. With all of my different businesses, a big way that we grow is by having relationships with not our competitors, but with businesses that complement our businesses in different industries. So we definitely, collaborate, we try to form partnerships, and we have connections with people, again, in related industries, or in our industries with related services or products. So this morning I was speaking to one of my brand representatives, and he was asking me about what I'm basically planning to do this year in terms of different conferences. Now, he was talking about different marketing events because he, as a brand partner, that's his role at the company, not my company, at the company he works with, his role is to form relationships with people like me, and he goes to all of the different industry events to try to, meet up in person, do dinners, and just kind of build the relationship so we don't go anywhere and so we continue working together. So he went through a whole list of events with me, and he was asking like, oh, so you're going to be at this one? And I was like, no, I'm not going to be there. He said, are you going to be at this one? No, I'm not going to be there. And after like the 3rd or 4th event that he mentioned, he was like, Anton, are you going anywhere this year? And I was like, honestly, I don't think so. So it was just an interesting dynamic, because I asked him, like, out of the people you work with, out of the other brand partners, are a lot of them saying like, yes, they're going to be at all these events? Because to me, it just sounds crazy, the amount of them. And he said, honestly, no, most people that they don't attend even one of them. So I thought it was interesting, and I kind of wanted to share my thoughts on the future of live events, or the future of marketing conferences, and kind of why I'm not at a lot of them, and why I don't think as many people as previously would attend are still attending. And it's not that the events aren't good. It's not that they're not, worth the money, or they're a ripoff or anything like that. That's not the case. It's just that now in 2018, pretty much anything that you're going to learn, so directly learn from any marketing conference, is something you could find on YouTube or on iTunes or on Stitcher within 60 seconds of searching. And even more so than that, most of these conferences, if they're 3 days long, and let's just say they have 10 presenters, most of those presenters have shared that presentation they're going to give there 20 times already. And again, you could find it on their website, in a blog post they've written, on their YouTube channel, on a podcast interview they've done. So it used to be that if you wanted to learn these new things that, weren't being talked about as frequently, I would say, information wasn't as readily available. So going back even 5 years or so, if you wanted those new things, those new techniques, those new hacks, you kind of had to go to these events so you can get that value from them, because that's where it was. There weren't as many podcasts, there weren't as many YouTube channels, there weren't as many blogs, there weren't as many online courses. So information was more restricted almost. So with that being said, that whole going to learn thing, especially for small business owners, which is what I am, and which I'm assuming is what you are, that value is just not really there anymore. You're not going to go there and have your mind blown and be like, wow, my business is going to revolutionize over this next year or so, right? So now that part is pretty much off the table for everyone that gathers and gets their knowledge online through all those information sources I mentioned, then what are the other benefits of these live events? Well, the biggest one, the most obvious one, the reason my brand partner was asking if I'm going to be there was for the networking opportunities. So a lot of us, again, small business owners, maybe you work alone, maybe you have a small team, there's a good chance that you're working by yourself or with a handful of people every day. So it is a good opportunity to go and connect with people that maybe you just know from the internet or you know from Facebook, that you get to go, see in person and, have a conversation with and just build that relationship, right? Make it real. Now, the thing with that, and the reason that for me personally right now, that's not a big enough drive or motivation to attend these events, is because a lot of them have, 500, 1,000, 3,000, 10,000 people in attendance. So you go there and you're in a room with 3,000 people, and unless you already have these connections and these relationships with these people you want to network with, you're not going to go there and just walk up to the people you seek out, because so is everyone else there. So it's not like you're just going to show up at a 1,000-person event and make friends with all these people that you think you know from the internet, because again, there's just so many people and there's so much happening and there's just such a short window. So for me personally, and again, maybe you relate to this, maybe you don't, but I'll tell you like what events I do go to and where I get the most value, because it's not that I don't see no value in networking. Networking is huge, and again, most of like what we do in our business is trying to build brand relationships. Like it just makes a big difference, so I do see that value. But the types of events that I like to go to are usually either smaller masterminds where there's 20 people or less, or where it's literally just a group of people that start a Facebook chat and say, hey, do you guys all want to go to dinner one night in whatever city? Now, this might sound crazy, right? Because some people will argue that, the reason it doesn't make sense to go to marketing events or these conferences is because you have to buy a $1,000 ticket, and because you have to buy your plane ticket and get a hotel, and is the cost all in at, whatever, $3,000 to $4,000 worth it? Some people will argue that. Well, I have flown from New York when I lived there, from even Vietnam when I lived there, from Austin when I've lived here. I've flown to other states and even other countries just to have dinners, just to have meetings. So it's not the expense that I think is a good reason for people to say, I'm not going to go to this event. Like, because again, you should get way more value in return, but it doesn't need to be a 3-day conference. It doesn't matter who the speaker lineup is, but if you could, get a flight, get a hotel, and have dinner with 5 people that are in your same industry or in related industries and share tips, that's going to get you such a better advantage and such a better head start in your business and where you're trying to go next than going to an event with 1,000 people in the room and sitting there with a notebook open. Like, that's not going to take your business to the next level. What is having those more small, intimate relationships, those smaller masterminds. Now, if you're listening to this right now and you're like, Anton, that sounds awesome, how do I, become part of these dinners or these meetups? Well, there's 2 ways, right? One type of mastermind are the ones that people pay for. So I've personally paid up to $25,000 a year to be in rooms with 20 other people that all paid $25,000 a year to share tips and, secrets, if you want to call it that, as to what's working now. Now, those paid masterminds, again, the way you get in is to pay. So that's a pretty simple in. The other ones that I actually find more valuable, the ones where there's even less people, the ones where, it's quote unquote free because there's no admission fee, you're just paying your expense to get wherever these meetups are. Those rooms you're probably not going to get into until you already have some authority or credibility or influence, if you want to call it that, in your industry. So, with that, you kind of have to put yourself out there a little bit more, if that makes sense. So even if you have your e-commerce store and you're selling, I don't know, home bars, right? You still need to be out there talking about the home bar industry and like have a face to your website and a face to your business. Form relationships with brand partners, so like your biggest suppliers. Form relationships with your rep at Google and at Facebook. And then once you become a big enough player in that industry, you'll start to get invited to those smaller, more intimate ones. But again, if you're looking for these smaller groups now, they're out there, the masterminds, they're just usually $25,000 to $35,000 a year. I personally think they're worth it if you're at a place in your business and in your life where where it makes sense for you. I know there's everyone's in a different situation. If you're a brand new business, it doesn't make much sense. And also if you're, an 8-figure business, it doesn't make much sense. But if you're like, doing $1 million, $2 million, $3 million, even like $5 million in sales, it makes a lot of sense to connect with other people in that same range and a little bit above you. So for those, the paid masterminds make sense. So I just wanted to share that, and like where I see things kind of going in the future, and this is the conversation I was having with my brand rep this morning, is that the events aren't going to go anywhere, but I really feel like the value is only going to decline. And I hate to say that as someone who hosts a technically, I guess you can call it a marketing conference every year, because I think the value proposition to the attendee is less and less desirable every year. Because again, if the events get bigger, if there's too many people in the room, if the speakers speak at every other conference, if they gave their talk on a podcast last week, like the desire to attend and the value that the attendees get does go down. So I think everyone that is hosting these events, everyone that has an event-based business, really needs to look at what they're doing and see how to modify things for where we are in this new information age, if you want to call it that. I'll give one final example, which one thing kind of like, I guess, got lucky that we've done since the beginning, but we still do now with my business, Dropship Lifestyle. So dropshiplifestyle.com, if you're not familiar with that one, we help people to build highly profitable, semi-automated e-commerce stores using the dropship model. Now, that business is an online training program, and most of it's online. But once a year, we do a live event. But what's cool about our live event is we limit them to 120 people maximum. So you're not, again, in a huge room. You can actually meet people and network with other attendees and speakers. So one thing we do to make it, I guess, sustainable is limit it to 120 people. And we also make them 4 days long. And we also do them in different countries all around the world. Like we've done them in Thailand, Hawaii, Mexico. This year is in Bali and Indonesia. And the way we do it is in the mornings of our events, our retreats, is the actual learning portion. So from like 8 a.m. till noon, you're in a, conference room, classroom, whatever you want to call it, and you're learning. And then in the afternoons, after lunch, we get on buses or we get on boats and we go do some kind of fun activity. So that way it's not just a marketing conference. It's, learning, it's networking, but it's also like a vacation. So you get lots of benefits from it, which I don't think that model is going to go anywhere anytime soon. Now, if we said next year we're going to have 1,000 people there, it wouldn't make sense because it would take away from the whole, networking and more intimate feel of our retreats. So just wanted to share that with you guys, and I'm really curious what everyone thinks about live events and marketing conferences. Are you attending any this year? Are you not? If you are, why are you going? If you're not, why are you skipping? And definitely let me know. If you want to leave a comment, I would love to hear from you. You can go to ecommercelifestyle.com. Just no weird spelling, just as it sounds, ecommercelifestyle.com. Click on episodes, and then you'll find this episode. And when you get there, just leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And yeah, let me know what you guys think. So that being said, guys, I don't have a real schedule for this thing. I will publish a next episode whenever anything pops into my mind that I want to get across to you. So have a good day, get some work done, and yeah, let's get some sales. See you, everybody.